I would say my dad is really the biggest fan. I will always cheer for Ferrari just because it's a given. But
Yeah.
currently my favorite team is McLaren because that's really the team I started following first when I first got into it. Just like watching them go from back of the grid to just being the first. That's really something I really enjoy seeing.
It is an amazing story.
Mm-hmm.
I can't lie. But me as a Max fan, Norris is the competition now.
Yeah.
So I'll be taking no prisoners.
Welcome to the Wimbo Worldwide F1 podcast.
F1 content around the globe.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Wimbo Worldwide F1 podcast, episode 17. And today, I finally made it happen. I found somebody to have a podcast with who's not from England and who's not a man. Because I found Ella from Montreal, Canada. She makes lovely content on Instagram and TikTok, I think. She hasn't started anything on YouTube yet, as far as I know. And she's just really passionate about F1, but also motorsport in general. Ladies and gentlemen, a warm welcome to Ella from F1Girlies. Hello.
Hi. Yeah, you introduced me pretty well. I'm a content creator. I focus on F1, but I do motorsports in general, and I really focus on women in motorsports and just the whole girly community of motorsports.
And it's a pretty big community, isn't it? Because you got like over 40,000 followers on Instagram. So how did that happen?
Honestly, I would say it kind of happened like overnight. I realized that there was a need for a community really focused on females and just like mixing motorsports with fashion, beauty, pop culture. And the moment I created it, people really wanted it, so they just came right in.
Yeah. Well, it's nice for people to find their own place in these big communities. There's plenty of men in F1, and there's plenty of Dutch men. I try to stay away from them a little bit. So are you very active on Twitter and stuff as well, or?
No, I mostly focus on Instagram at this time. I kind of use Threads a little bit, but Twitter never really been my thing, so I don't really
See,
go on there.
I like Twitter for having discussions and to see what other people are fighting about. And that inspires me for the next video. So, so where did your love for Formula One start? Let's start there.
I would say that it really started with my dad. He's someone who's been watching F1 for pretty much his entire life, and so it's always been like a part of my life. I've seen it watch every race on TV ever since I was a child, but I never really got into it just because I was like a teenager who didn't really care. But then he got me tickets for the free practice at the Montreal Grand Prix last year, and I gave it a try. I wasn't really expecting anything, and when I went there, I really realized it's amazing. The ambience, the fans, the sounds, the smells. Just I fell in love with everything there, and I just knew I wanted more of that. That's really where it started all.
But that's a wonderful way of falling in love with Formula One. Just going to the track without any thoughts about it, and then just seeing the thing live. And did you talk to many people while you were there, or?
Not really, because like I said, I wasn't expecting anything, so I kind of just was watching. But we went with family friends, so I discussed everything I was seeing with my or family friends, and like I was asking my dad so many questions. So I really like learned everything on the spot and just soaked everything in.
It's a wonderful track as well, the Montreal track. A lot of people
Yeah.
love the track. So with your content, what you're making, you're pretty successful on different platforms. But do you have certain goals in mind, or
Yeah,
is there something you totally want to reach before a certain time?
my goal really is to take what I currently have and just make it bigger. So maybe bringing the community to real life. So real life events, opportunities for fans to go to races together, just watching the race together, just taking everything I'm doing now and really making it a thing for as many people as possible. That's like my main goal with this.
Yeah. And let's go back to where the Formula One virus started. Um, you say your dad took you to the track and he watches every race. Now, does he have like certain drivers that he's a fan of, or a certain team?
Yeah, we're Italians, so we root for Ferrari the most. That's like our team. So honestly, ever since I was a child, he's always been like the biggest fan of whoever is winning for Ferrari. But like we grew up with Michael Schumacher, who was really everyone's favorite. So that's really we was rooting for the most. But now he just roots for Charles Leclerc and sometimes Carlos Sainz.
Yeah. So this is interesting. Now you're from Montreal, so you're French Canadian with Italian roots. So that means you speak English, French, and Italian.
Not Italian.
No Italian.
I'm
Okay.
trying to learn, but I kind of fell through the cracks and never really learned it.
Well, you have a wonderful last name. I'm not going to say it, but one of my favorite movie directors has the same surname. So have you ever been to Italy?
Yes, my extended family still lives there because my dad immigrated when he was like 12 years old. So everyone still lives there. So we try to go every few years just to see everyone and really.
But that would be a nice opportunity to go see an Italian race. Is it
Yeah.
closer to Imola or closer to
I think
Monza?
Imola is closer to where a portion of our family lives, and yeah, that's like something we really want to do eventually.
Yeah. So the community of Formula One fans in Montreal, is that big? Like,
Yeah.
could you go to a pub and watch a race there and it's filled with people?
Yes, the community is huge here, and something I noticed is around where the Montreal Grand Prix takes place. People who aren't even really fans, they really get involved. They go to the parties, they go to the events. They really like the ambience so much that they're not necessarily fans, but just everyone is so into it.
Well, I recognize that because I was in Zandvoort a month and a half ago, and the people who live in the streets near the circuit, they put out like music and tents, and they party with all the people walking from and to the track. You know, it's like it almost looks like a national holiday. Like we have King's Day in Holland, and everybody dresses in orange and goes out on the street, and that's what happened in Zandvoort when there's the Grand Prix weekend on as well, which was a great experience. So, are there many Lance Stroll fans in your community?
I wouldn't say because, like, we all know how controversial Lance Stroll is as a driver, but honestly, I don't see a lot of fans who really would say he's their favorite driver. Not even like as a national thing. People are proud that we have a Canadian driver, but other than that, I don't really see a lot of
No,
interest.
since the Villeneuve father and son, Canada hasn't been very lucky
Exactly.
with drivers because Nicholas Latifi, even though people called him Go-Tifi, wasn't very successful either. Would you know any more before Nicholas Latifi, Canadians?
Obviously know the Villeneuve, but other than that, I don't really know anyone
Well,
else.
people, if you're watching this on the premiere, leave a comment with Formula One drivers who drove before Nicholas Latifi, because at the minute I can't think of any. So that's for the live stream. Okay, where was I? Canada. I have a subscriber called Slowpat, and I think he's from Montreal, and he offered me a certain food from Montreal, and I can't remember. It was something with a P.
Putin.
Poutine, yes. What's that? What's in Poutine?
It's fries, but like really thick fries with gravy and cheese on top.
Oh, but
It's
that's
really good.
that sounds like a cheese and gravy chip. That's
Kinda.
my wife eats that because she's from she's from Northern Ireland, and that's a pretty common thing there.
Yeah, because Canada is just an agglomeration of immigrants, so we just took the food from other countries and made them ours.
Yeah, yeah. It's funny how that goes. Hey, and now, if you listen to somebody from France, say Paris, could you tell from their accent they're from Paris?
Yes, yes, our accent is extremely different.
Extremely different.
Yes, the
Okay.
French Canadian accent is kind of old French. It's very it's not very elegant. Let's say it's we have a lot of borrowed expression from English. So French from France often complain that they have a hard time understanding us.
Wow. Well, you see, the Belgians and the Dutch, they speak the same language. And we like to say that the Belgians preserve our language because they speak a little bit more old-fashioned than we do. But we actually love the Belgian accent and language. And they hate us because they think we're too loud. It's a bit like what you think about, Americans. Now I was looking at the map. You're not that far from the east coast of America or the cities there.
Yeah,
Like relatively speaking, because how many hours would it be to New York from where you are?
I think driving is around 6 hours.
Yeah,
It's not that far.
yeah. That's from my house to Paris for me,
Yeah,
but for us that's really far. But yeah, for as big a country as Canada is, that's relatively okay, right? Hey, and what else? What else can I ask about Canada? I really want to go there
yeah. It's honestly it's amazing.
because I haven't met an unfriendly Canadian yet. And I've been traveling. Around 2000, I was in Ireland, so I met Canadians all the time. And there was one who's a little bit grumpy because I thought he was an American speaking French, and then they explained that yeah. He said, "Look at my backpack. There's a Canadian flag on it." So, have you ever been to Holland?
No, in Europe, I've only been to Italy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's quite a trip, of course. Expensive.
Yes.
So, are there any races that you're dying to go to?
This year, I really wanted to go to one of the American races just because it's closer and plane tickets right now are crazy expensive.
Yeah.
So I really wanted to like stay in the same continent, but didn't really happen because yeah, it's still really expensive to attend a race unless
Yeah,
you
well-
have sponsors or something. It's hard to do on your own.
Yeah, Las Vegas, those prices are ridiculous
Yes.
because it's only millionaires that go there, and then
Exactly.
Yeah, I think quota is pretty reasonable, but that's probably a 10-hour flight for you
Yeah,
or
it's like
something.
at least an entire day of driving just to go south.
Yeah, yeah, that's a hard one. So let me see what I've written down. We talked about your content, about your goals, highlights. Yes, tell me about your highlights. You've met people. You've been to. You've met teams or people inside of F1.
I wouldn't say really, but this year I was invited to the Montreal Grand Prix by a Porsche Carrera Cup driver. Her name is Sabra Cook, and we just got together. We filmed content. I had the opportunity to interview her before the her race, and that was really amazing because I got to see like how it's working, how everyone in the garage are working. That was really like probably the highlight of my year.
But that was for the Porsche Carrera Cup,
Yeah,
and
at the
that was before the Grand Prix.
yeah the feature race.
Yeah. Yeah, I like seeing those Porsches race, because they bang into each other, and it's very different than Formula One. But I enjoyed seeing that. Um, so, have you any plans for next season? You know,
Uh, the Montreal
any
Grand Prix, yes,
yeah,
it's a for sure. But other than that, no, I don't really have any plans yet. But I'm constantly working with people, always trying to find different opportunities, and always trying to maybe get my community more involved too.
yeah. No, that's the best way. And I'm pretty sure you will succeed because you're really nice. You're much nicer than me because I do get a little bit, well, I wouldn't say toxic, but I can have a nice argument on social media about things. So that brings me to the next topic, favorites. Now, you've already said that because you're Italian, or is that just your dad that you favor Ferrari and Charles Leclerc, or is that you as well?
I would say my dad is really the biggest fan. I will always cheer for Ferrari just because it's a given. But
Yeah.
currently, my favorite team is McLaren because that's really the team I started following first when I first got into it. Just like watching them go from back of the grid to just being the first. That's really something I really enjoy seeing.
It is an amazing story. I can't lie. But me as a Max fan, Norris is the competition now.
Yeah.
So I'll be taking no prisoners. Now, my last video was about Norris, why he's hated so much. And yeah, my conclusion was that the hate is not that bad. He's just a title contender, so these things happen.
Yeah, that's what I'm
Um,
thinking too.
and the drama made by his girlies, the fans that support him, is usually bigger than the hate itself. So yeah, that was interesting as well.
Yeah, that's something I noticed too. Of course, he's gonna receive hate, but I think that's just every driver ever who's ever been winning. They
Yeah.
always get people against them just because they are currently the best. So
Well, and he does these little, yeah, I'm not calling it mistakes, but I sometimes feel he doesn't know what to do with his position yet as being that much in the limelight as a title contender. So he uses Max's catchphrase, and I know he meant no wrong in it, but there's people saying, "Oh, that was very original," and yeah, he was a little bit snappy to Lewis Hamilton in the cool down room, and obviously Team LH doesn't appreciate that. Him being snooty to Lewis Hamilton, and yeah, and then there's Formula One is not helping either because he won in Zandvoort, and the next day they post like a poster with Lando Norris, and it said statement. And then the other day because he won the last race, they said domination. And then obviously people are going to say, well, why didn't you do that for Piastri? Or why didn't you do that for Max 19 times last season? And I don't think Formula One is helping, or maybe they wanted toxicity, but
I think so.
I think they like the traction.
Yeah, I think so too. That's something I noticed recently about those specific graphics. They really are aiming at engagement bait with those. That's really clear to me, just because they know they're gonna get people talking, and
Yeah.
that's what's working right now.
But do you think F1 shouldn't do that, or do you think it's okay?
I think we are getting a bit close to the line of where it should end. Just the balance between good social media and engagement bait. Like there is a fine line between what's acceptable to do, and especially at such a professional level, and just like tactics that are used by fans to get more engagement. That's what it's starting to look like to me a bit.
Yeah. Yeah, that's very clever that you see it that way, because I know loads of accounts who will have an extreme opinion just to get the interactions,
Exactly.
the impressions. Now I have the blue tick as well on Twitter. I think I need about 1.5 million of impressions per month to pay for the blue tick, and I never make that because I don't. Occasionally I'll have a hit tweet, but not regularly. But there are accounts out there who say these extreme things just to get the people talking about it.
Yeah,
and for
sorry.
Formula One organization to do that themselves.
Yeah, that's when it gets a bit weird to me, because I can understand that fans are doing the most they can to survive and just be seen and be on top, but F1 doesn't need that. They are already the best. They're the standard, so they don't really need to be doing that much just to get engagement.
No, they should lead by example.
Exactly.
Yeah. Hey, and do you get angry messages sometimes, or comments underneath your content?
Yeah, I think it's a given when you're a creator. There's always going to be someone who's mad at you for anything you do, but honestly, I just work on ignoring them, and if it gets too bad, I just mute people. I don't engage anymore. Maybe I would have like a year ago when I was first starting, but now I don't give that any more energy than I need to.
No. Well, you see on YouTube, the comments, they're good for the algorithm. So I will engage with a half decent discussion, but as soon as the crash Stappen things come out, and the slander names and the swear words, then on YouTube there's a button where you make somebody invisible on the channel, and they don't get a notification or nothing. So they'll be writing comments and thinking, why is nobody seeing this? Which is great. They should do that on all platforms.
I think Instagram has that now, but I think it's still quite limited. Yeah, but honestly, I think the nature of my content is obviously going to attract negative comments, because I'm kind of going on a path that no one really ever been before, just really going all in on the stereotypes of women just liking Formula One. So obviously that's going to attract people who disagree, who maybe think I'm doing something wrong by just being myself and sharing my interests.
But do you do you make content about the technical side, or would you have a video about somebody getting a penalty and you don't agree with it, or?
I try.
Is it about racing, or is it more about everything around it?
I try to work with other creators to just teach about F1 to my community, because personally I'm not like the most knowledgeable about the technical side, the rules, everything. So I go and I speak with other creators who create guides to share with the community. So it's not necessarily me who does everything, but I give the opportunity to other people to teach.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
but
don't just do girly girly stuff.
no, okay. No, it's just that there's a lot of overconfident men on social media that just repeat what other people say,
Mm-hmm.
and they would dunk on women who get something wrong, you know. And me as a content creator, I'm not very much into the technical side, so you know I'll not be drooling when I see a new rear wing with extra downforce to make them go quicker in the slow corners. Um, my interest is more the dynamics between the teams and the dynamics between drivers.
Mm-hmm.
So what's happening between Piastri and Norris? That's something you know that excites me.
Yeah.
And yeah, well, everybody has their own thing, but
Mm-hmm.
then people sometimes dismiss my opinions about whether a driver is leaving at the end of the season, or because they say, well, you know nothing about Formula One because you don't even know how the technical side works.
Exactly. That's something I noticed too. I'm a communication student, so my really main interest is social media, how the team do advertisement, the content creation that teams and the F1 account do on social media. That's like my main interest as a person. But that's something I feel like some people pretend like it's not important in the sport, but those things are so important. The marketing, the sponsors, the PR, all of this is what makes the sport what it is now. It's not just a thing that's on in the background. It's important too.
Yeah, it's also a very big important part of.
Mhm.
Otherwise, it wouldn't be affordable anymore if the teams don't have the sponsors and they don't attract the crowds to buy the products that they promote.
Yeah, exactly.
Um, but do you feel there's a lot of gatekeeping?
Yes.
Is that
Yes.
one of your biggest nuisances?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would say it's one of the main thing. Just um, I we often joke that it's the old men who are gatekeeping the sport, but like it's not only that, but a lot of people who just
When do you consider somebody old?
uh honestly like the minute they are on the internet and being mean, they are old.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, it's a lot of like people who are, I wouldn't say old, but like people who have been fans for maybe like my dad, just like a long time ago they became fan when things were really different in the sport, and they come on the internet and they see progress, new things, new projects, and they see it as a threat to their status as a fan, because they think that new fans means that they won't have the same access to the sport as it used to be. And that can be true, because the more people want tickets, the harder it can be to get some yourself. But at the same time, I feel like if you exclude new fans, just it's not as fun. It's not as fun as it could be.
Well, it's interesting that you say that, but what I've noticed is that the most toxic people on social media are people that never went to a race, and those are people who who would skip a race because it's not at a time that suits them.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like I watch free practice on Saturday morning at 5 o'clock in the morning when it's in Japan. I don't care. And Sunday night, um, I'll watch the after show and I'll go to bed at 12 o'clock when it's in America, you know. Um, and I'll sleep 4 hours because my business requires me to get up really early on Monday morning. But I make those sacrifices. But those guys who are judging everybody else, they don't even put in the hours and the money to be a real fan. They just go on
Yeah,
social media and complain about others.
it's the haters are such a specific type of people. They always seem to use the same gatekeeping lines, the same comments, rude comments. It's really not something that's mainstream. We can't say that all the older fans are mean, because that's just not true. It's really a specific kind of people who just don't want others to have fun. That's really something I noticed.
It's just English people.
I don't know if they're all English, but yes, it's like a really specific kind of people. It's really not everyone, but the thing is, they are the loud minority. They like when I don't know if you've ever checked, but in the comments of the F1 Academy posts, if you go to the comments like after the first hour that it's been posted, you will see so many comments like they're all going to crash. They make the other drivers look so good because they're so bad. It's all really
Yeah.
mean negative comments, but it's not the majority. It's just that they are the only ones taking the time to comment mean things.
Yeah. Well, we should promote the academy more than to get more positive people involved. But my problem is that I have this thing with hyperfocus, and my hyperfocus is on Formula One. And I'm afraid that if I start watching Formula 2 and Formula 3 as well and the Academy, then, it'll be a little bit too much because
Yeah, I get that.
I'll know I'll get into it, you know. I'll enjoy it. But I'll try to get into the Academy, but I'll try to be a light supporter, just
Yeah,
just
I
what.
don't follow all the series either, but I always try to stay up to date to what's happening, the discourses on social media, just always being in the know of what people are saying.
It's
That's
just the funny.
something.
The funny thing is, if you ask me name somebody from the Academy, I would say Bianca
Bustamante.
Bustamante from the Philippines. And I know that because there was a big row about 6-7 months ago because she liked a tweet of somebody being negative about Lance Stroll. And then we saw that name so often that name stuck. And then there's, I think, Abby Pulling. I know that name. Let me think if I know another one. There's a Dutch girl as well, isn't there?
I don't know all of their names by heart, but yes, I think
No.
there is one. I'm not sure. I know there's Leah Block, who's an American, so that's always nice to see.
Yeah.
But yeah, I since
So,
it's a female only series, I always try to stay involved in just knowing what's going on with that.
well, what I hear from, Manon and Maya, because they're your colleagues. I did a podcast with them last season in June. And I met them as well in Zandvoort. Not this year, but the year before. But I see them at races because they made friends or they made connections with the academy. Um, they're quite successful, so it's handy for the academy to reach out to them, and I hope that happens for you as well.
Yeah, I don't really have any connections at this time, but I'm always just watching from afar and doing as much as I can on my own to support. And like, there's already so little women in the sport that as little as we can get, we're gonna take it.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and you should.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I have to say, and I don't want to moan, but being an F1 content creator as a 47-year-old Dutchman with no hair that's not easy either, you know. And we were talking about this earlier. If I look in my sent inbox on my email, then I think I must have like 18 or 20 emails that are sent to different people in F1 with no reaction. Then on Twitter, I try it as well. A lot of people have their junk boxes and they never open them, so they don't even see my emails. But sometimes I get one where it says read at that and that time, and then you get no reaction.
Mm-hmm.
And then a few times I had a reaction saying like, oh, I'd love to, but I don't have time. So I'll take a rain check. So that's a euphemism for no, I'm not going to do it. And then some of them, I've noticed, because I do ask a lot of people to come on this podcast, is that if it doesn't happen quickly, then yeah, usually you can forget about it, you know?
Yeah, I noticed that too.
So, well, that's a tip I wanted to give you, but you already know this. So
Yeah, like we discussed that, it's such a real part of being a content creator in general. A lot of people are asking me, oh, how do you get collaboration? How do you do all of that? But the thing is, it's almost you have to be at the right place at the right time, lucky with the right people. Like if people could see the amount of time I spend in a day sending emails, searching for people, searching for opportunities, it really doesn't happen overnight. And you can have 100,000 followers. If you don't have the right opportunities at the right time, you are not going to get what you want. It's the
no.
reality. It's how it is. It's how it's always going to be.
But yeah, so why is it important for me telling you this? I just want you to know that the struggles you have is not because you're a woman. It's just because, especially in Formula One, there's so much demand, and
Yeah.
these people, they probably get 20 emails a day, maybe even more.
Yeah, that's really true.
And for me, I have 2,500 subscribers now. If a YouTuber approached me with, say, 100 subscribers and say, hey, I want to do a collaboration with you, then he needs to come with a really good story or a really good idea before I jump into it, because I don't even know how serious that person is. And for me to invest my time in it.
Yeah, that's true. That's really true. If we as creator can't accept everything, then the people who have maybe bigger opportunities, they can't accept everyone either. It's just a time thing. It's how it is.
Okay. Right. Well, we can close that book now. We're going to talk about racing. People, wake up. We're going to talk about Formula One racing. How are you enjoying this season?
I am pleasantly surprised with it. I wasn't expecting so much to go the way it did. Honestly, I was expecting a 2023 part two, just Max winning everything, teams maybe getting closer to each other, but I wasn't expecting McLaren to take the position that they are in now. I wasn't expecting that.
No. And how do you think it's going to end?
That's like the biggest question right now. Honestly, I want to think that Lando Norris is going to win the World Championship, but I think Max is still going to get it. I really think he's in a good position. He's doing everything he can. We all know he's not giving up. He is not someone who's giving up. So I think he's going to get his last World Championship.
His last?
I think so. I think next year it's not going to be the same thing.
Okay. Oh, it's good to know then. I wanted him to win 8.
Yeah, I know. I feel like last year, if you asked me that, I would have said, nah, he's going to win like until
forever.
Yeah, exactly. It's never going to stop. But now I'm not as confident as I was.
but that's the funny thing about Formula One. Like, people hyped up Aston Martin in 2023 because they went so well in the first 6 months, and now they're the solid fifth team. Mercedes was dominant for, I don't know, 7-8 years, and now they're the fourth team, at more over 100 points behind the third team.
Yeah.
McLaren was nowhere at the start of 2023. They were really good towards the end, and they stayed that good. And Red Bull, they dominated, and then the internal struggles caused them to have a little bit of performance loss, which is a bit of a shame.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I'm on two minds about the season as well. Like, if Lando stays this quick with the McLaren, and I mean, they're not sitting still either. You know, they're still putting in upgrades for the next races. If you can beat Max by 20 seconds in Singapore, then you might be able to do that as well in Austin, the next race. And then the Ferraris, they were out of play because of the bad qualifying, but they could be in the mix as well. And then if Lando wins and Leclerc is in between and Piastri is in front of Max, and he finishes 2 races as fourth instead of second, then the points will come down really quickly, or the gap.
Yeah, that's the thing.
That's what I'm a bit worried about.
Yeah.
But you still think Max is going to win?
Yeah, I have this feeling that he's going to just double down and doing everything he can, because, like, I know that the struggle is the car right now. He's having a hard time balancing the car and just getting it to do what he wants. But as a driver, he's still the same. He's still really confident, clearly, in his abilities.
Yeah. Well, let's hope that he can fight, you know. Like, who do you think would win in equal machinery? Lando or Max?
I think Max, because I think it's the confidence. Lando is a bit more, he reminds me of a young man in university. He thinks he knows it all, but maybe he still has things to figure out, while Max seems to be more aware of the thing he struggles with. He seems to be really more knowledgeable of what he can and can't do.
Yeah. Yeah, and then Max doesn't have to fight his teammate.
Yeah, there's that too.
Yeah, like, do you like Piastri as well?
Yeah, Piastri is. I think I preferred him over Lando when I first started watching, because I could relate to, like, being new in a sport, being young, and having all of those expectations on you. But now
he's only 2 years older than you.
Yeah, exactly. I think 1 year. Yeah.
1 year, yeah.
So I could really relate to that. But now, just because Lando is closer in the World Championship, I think I root for him just because I want to see him get his win.
Yeah. Well, you know, if the season plays out this way, you know, McLaren has the fastest car, Max gets the most out of each weekend, but, you know, there's some unfortunate things like a failed pit stop and he loses a position. And at the end of the season, you know, Lando wins by 12 points because he didn't set a foot wrong and kept winning the races that he needed to win. Then I can congratulate Lando Norris on his championship, you know?
Yeah.
I think with Max already having 3 championships, it's not going to get as toxic and wild as with Lewis, you know, because the way Max was fighting in Jeddah, he was really fighting like it was the only opportunity for him to win a world championship ever, and that's why he kept chucking it down on the inside and being so wild. But now he has 3, and I think if Norris starts doing that to him, I think he'll just let him go. I don't think Max wants to crash with him so he can save the point difference they have.
Yeah, I've seen this switch to. Of course, he wants to win, but you can tell that he's not going to fight to like give everything to ruin his life for it.
No,
Hmm.
which is kind of good to see, you know.
Yeah.
And yeah, let's just hope that Red Bull finds a little bit of speed again. And
Yeah.
like, I love those races where a pit stop and a strategy and a brilliant overtake decides the race rather than just the fastest car. You
Yeah, I
know?
love that too. That's something I'm really liking about the rest of the season right now. It's really exciting because you have no idea what's going to happen.
No,
Everything can change in an instant in a race, and that's something that I really like because my first season was 2023 as a fan, so it wasn't really that exciting. You
no.
kind of was you were expecting what's was
But
going to
then,
happen.
you know, there was people that started watching in 2021 and they got spoiled so badly with a crazy season with a final race with the drivers level on point. Uh, they probably dropped off after 22 and 23. But you started in pretty much the most boring season ever when it comes to a title fight. So it can only get better for you.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm thinking. I'm really enjoying it. I'm having fun tuning in and just seeing how it's going to play out.
Yeah. And that's a brilliant segue to 2025. So, what are your expectations for 2025?
Honestly, I have no idea what's going to happen because there is so many new drivers coming in. The rookies,
Yeah,
they are
yeah.
young. Like I said, I can relate so much to young people getting into something new and having all of those expectations. So I can't wait to see how that's gonna be. Like who's gonna be a prodigy. Like I have no idea how the season will play out because there is so many things that can go differently than this season.
But, you know, do me a favor and do a bit of prediction anyway. Like,
Okay.
where do you think McLaren's going to be next season?
I
Still
have
the
a,
quickest,
yeah,
still the quickest car?
I have a feeling that McLaren is going to keep riding this high. They are going to keep going and just continue what they're doing right now. I don't know if they're going to win the world championship, but I feel like they are going to be on really close. And I
Okay,
also
and
feel
then, yeah.
sorry.
No, go ahead. No, go ahead.
I also feel like Ferrari is going to make a comeback because they are already improving a little compared to how they were in 2023. So,
True.
so I feel like they might be getting
The,
closer.
the Ferrari blunders in strategy, they're getting less.
Hmm.
Um, but then there's this big thing happening, and that's Lewis Hamilton at Ferrari.
Exactly. That's something I'm really looking forward because you never know. Like this could be like a revival of his career. Like
But I mean, Lewis Hamilton was complaining the last race because he didn't understand why they put him on soft tires.
yeah,
And they did that so he could catch Max at the start, which didn't happen. But if he's moaning about a pretty sensible, logical strategy, then what's going to happen with him at Ferrari when they say, Lewis, we are thinking plan B, we are thinking plan C? He's going to freak out.
yeah, that could go really wrong. But I feel like he's so fed up with Mercedes right now. You can tell that he's over it. It's not the same as it was. Like you can tell the relationship is different. So I think he's gonna like the challenge of being with Ferrari. I think
Yeah.
that's gonna be something really
But
nice.
he's kind of going to start there with a clean slate, you know. Like if he starts there and Leclerc starts beating him, they'll say, yeah, he needs to get used to the car. He needs to get used to the new steering wheel. He needs to get used to his engineer. And then, yeah, after that, like after the summer break, hopefully we'll see a more evenly matched Lewis Hamilton and Charles Leclerc. So, and what are your expectations for 25 for Red Bull then?
Honestly, I have a feeling that there is chances that this downfall is not going to stop anytime soon. With everyone dropping the team, like I saw someone leave the team earlier. I can't remember who it
Yeah.
was or what he was doing, but
His name is Will Courtenay. He's from the strategy department. But he's going to leave in 2026.
okay, yeah,
So
that's what I
he's
saw.
going to stay there for a long time. But I don't know if you ever had a job and then handed in your notice and then you still had to stay there for a month.
Yeah,
That's a long month.
yeah, that's
And
what I was thinking.
Lewis Hamilton is feeling that right now. But I think Jonathan Wheatley and that Will Courtenay, they're feeling the same thing. Like, what are they going to do? Sack me?
Exactly. That's what I keep saying about Newey too. It was over the minute he announced his departure. It was over the minute he said that because he's not going to bring revolutionary improvements to the car
No.
if he's going to another team.
But I made a video about that as well a couple of months ago, or a couple of months, like only a month into the season. He came out saying that the development went into a direction with shark air inlets and that he hated. And Pierre Wache and Balbo, I think his name is, they went for that direction anyway. And yeah, perhaps that's one of the reasons why he left as well. As it turns out, the problems that they're having, I'm not saying that that direction was the problem, but yeah. I think if you have Newey, you need to listen to him.
Yeah.
If he says jump, you say how high.
Exactly.
So what about Mercedes then? Are they still going to be the fourth team? Are they going to be the third team?
They are so hard to predict because sometimes they do well, sometimes they do really not well. So I feel like they are going to just stay like fourth, maybe fifth. They're not going to get better. That's my thought. They're not going to be a top contender next
They
year.
have a funny lineup as well with Russell and Antonelli.
Yeah, and that Antonelli, that could go either really, really impressively well,
And
or that could be hard.
You with your Italian blood, you must feel connected to Kimi Andrea Antonelli.
Yeah, I don't know much about him, but I'm always
No,
really excited to see like new talents, and especially when they are Italian, because
My second hobby is film, right? And I've named Antonelli Frodo because he has this lovely curly hair and these really sweet brown eyes. So yeah, Antonelli is Frodo for me.
he has potential, I think. But Russell is going to want that first driver spot, and like all the effort be put into him now that Hamilton is gone. So it could bring some interesting rivalry between the both of them because Antonelli wants to prove himself. He's young, he's new, he wants to prove that he can do this. But Russell wants his wins. He wants to keep going because this year we can say that he's been on a good run. He's been doing pretty well compared to 2023.
Russell's been doing really well, but he's very unlucky. He wins a race and then he gets disqualified. Alonso was braking in front of him and then he crashed in Australia. Then there was another DNF. I think that was just a technical DNF, wasn't it? Where an engine conked out. So yeah, he's been very unfortunate. Yeah, so oh my god, I'm looking forward to next season. Right, we're coming towards the end of the podcast already. We went through it in a really good pace. So what we usually do towards the end is crazy predictions. And then we're going to talk about your channel and where we can find you and all that. So have you thought of a crazy prediction for this season?
Yeah, I think that Sainz at Williams is going to be surprisingly really, really impressive.
Okay, but That's next season.
Oh, okay. Oops, sorry. Okay, this season?
Yeah.
For this season? Okay. Wait, I didn't think about that. I think there is nothing more to be surprised about.
No.
Honestly, my crazy prediction would be Lando winning the
The
World Championship.
championship.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because if it happens, it's going to surprise me. It's going to
Yeah.
be really like, wow, I wasn't expecting that.
Yeah. No, that it would be a surprise, especially since never in Formula One has there been a lead as big as Max had being taken away. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so quickly too.
And that's because of the sprint races and point for fastest lap. There's a lot more points for grabs and a lot
Exactly.
more races. Okay, well, let's talk about F1 Girlies, because that's the name of your channel.
I changed it. It was F1
Okay.
Girlies, but now it's Motorsportgirlies because I took out the F1.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'll put a link in the description for all the ladies that are watching. And men, do me a favor and subscribe to her Instagram and all that as well. But you tell me what platforms you're on.
I'm on Instagram and TikTok and Threads, the
Yeah.
famous social media. Yeah, I focus on Instagram, and that's where I post most of my content. I post interviews with drivers. I post inspiration. Oof, I can say that word.
Inspirational.
Inspirational content, and really, I focus on fashion, beauty, everything, marketing, everything, all of that.
Yeah. Right. Well, you were a lovely guest.
Thank you.
And we'll keep in touch. My DMs are always open if you have questions or if you have, I don't know, if you want to chat. And I hope you have a lovely season. And for all the people at home, please find her on Instagram and Threads and TikTok and give her a follow because she deserves it.
Thank you. Thank you for
Okay,
having
everybody.
me.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Doei doei.